It's 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Has the meeting been properly noticed?
Yes, it has.
Moving on to recognitions. Anybody on the board have anything? Anybody from the audience?
Just had a couple of recognitions today that I'd like to make. I feel like I got a long list each week, but seniors are graduating and just very excited for the opportunities in front of them. Graduation coming up Sunday, June 5th. Prior to that, we do have the senior breakfast, so I'd like to thank the PHS Scholarship Committee for sponsoring that for our seniors. And kind of following that up, we had a very successful senior scholarship awards night. Over $250,000 were given to the class of 2022. So just shows the appreciation and support of our community. So thank you for everybody that was a part of that. And then this past week, a couple kind of fun events that hadn't got to happen for a few years. We had the second graders got to go out to Noble Farms. Ainsley Noble is president of the FFA, and she worked with a group of students and the FFA to have a really fun day for the second graders out at the farm. And then at Neil Wilkins, we had a petting zoo. I don't know if there was a zebra this year. Was there, Tammy? No zebra. There was a zebra last year, but very fun event for the, I don't know where the zebra connection fell through this year. Very fun event for the students at Westview, or at Neil Wilkins and Westview with the second grade. So wanted to give that report.
At the middle school, we wrapped up our concert season. We had strings and choir and band. It was great to have those events. Great to see the families in there enjoying the music. Fun to see the progress from the fall concert to the spring concert. Then even from what they do in 5th grade to 6th grade to 7th and 8th grade. It's just fun to see that growth. 8th graders got to enjoy last week Outsiders Day, which they get to dress up for. They get all excited for that. We get the cars coming in from the community gets to kind of show off their passion and have that connection. Steve was there, took some pictures. Hopefully we get to see those coming up. But what a great day for those kids. And we have 8th grade recognition coming up June 6th as we get ready for our 8th graders to go off to bigger and better things at the high school. So,
kudos to Mr. Julius for the band concert, 6th, 7th, and 8th for his percussion effort.
yeah, let's go with that.
That's skill.
I think I brought both hands that effort.
Jim, do you have anything?
Just we have our high school graduation a week from Sunday, 1 p.m. at the high school.
Okay.
I got something here. It's been brought to my attention that as a school board member, I violated one of our policies. And I violated policy number 161, and it has to do with board members and their actions. And I apologize to all the school board members and the public that I violated that policy. I don't want to be put in that position again to violate a policy such as that, and I hope nobody else as a board member is put in that position. And in the future, I'll make sure it doesn't happen again, but I'll continue to do my job that my constituents elect me to do. So, thank you.
Thank you. Opportunity for public input. Sounds like we have a couple signed up. Lynn?
So I'm going to read it just to stick on time, so bear with me. Here we go. All right. So 4 weeks ago, my 10-year-old daughter was beaten up by a boy at recess. He held her by the hair so he could punch her in the face, kick her and throw her to the ground. And not that it matters, but he was upset that he was losing a game of keep away. My daughter ended up with marks by her eye, on her legs, and a broken finger. Do you know how long it takes to heal, for a broken finger to heal? Do you know how painful it is to try to do anything with a broken finger on your dominant hand? She will be dealing with the physical result of what her classmate did to her for weeks, not to mention the emotional toll it has taken on her. Now, aside from my frustration as a parent, of any parent would have, I also have to explain the punishment that the boy received to my daughter. The boy was allowed to finish out the day at school, and he was able to approach her the next day at lunch. and he even enjoyed the recess with her less than 24 hours after he attacked her. The school district has a safety plan but failed to implement it. She literally spent more time out of school getting her finger x-rayed than he was suspended for. When I asked why the school wasn't doing more, I was told that it was because he hadn't been in trouble before. When one student attacks another, past behavior should only come into play when you're making the punishment more severe. The student who attacked my daughter is a child of an important district employee, and I cannot help but wonder if that had something to do with the way the incident was or wasn't handled. I wish I could tell you that it was my first time that we've seen the school district fail my children. I have a biracial daughter who is graduating next week. In the past, she has experienced multiple bouts of racial attacks while in school. She has been threatened by a previous school board president's child who initially only received a half-day school suspension for threatening to hang her. I have multiple letters from the school district in the past 4 years admitting to their failure to respond appropriately. Each time they promised to be better in the future. Just in the past 4 years, the school district has failed to address racism, racial threats, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and physical assault. I've had enough. My kids have had enough. If this is just what my daughters have gone through, I can only imagine how widespread the issues are in this school district. My question is, when will they do better, and at what cost to my children? If the school refuses to respond appropriately, we need policies that require them to act and hold them responsible when they fail to do so. Thank you.
No,
That's it.
that's it.
And then this goes possibly on the agenda for next month or something. I don't know how this works. I'll just go, I'll talk to Mr. Bailey.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Any other, Lynn, anyone else? Public input? No? Okay. Moving on to information and discussion items, ESER updates.
We have a memo created by the business department that walks through our history with the ESSER funds, and this is something that we have been very proactive and transparent as we propose projects. We've brought them to the board, and we've continued this discussion since the ESSER fundings were available. So there's some narrative there, and then with ESSER 3, it's broken down to descriptors of what we have applied the ESSER funds to. What I would like to also present to the board is a graphic that if the board is questioned or if they have questions about just a quick reference, okay, what did Platteville School District do with the ESSER funding? I think this one came together very nicely. So this is available. It's on certainly on our board docs, so you have access to that. With that being stated, do we have any questions regarding the ESSER spending update? Before that, our funding has been approved. So all of the items that we applied the ESSER funds towards, it's a system in which you put into the DPI, you enter a budget, they review it, does it meet the qualifiers for what the ESSER funding was supposed to do? They approve it. All of our 3 rounds of ESSER have been approved through DPI.
The only question I had is, it's a really nice graphic that we have there, and it's on board docs. Is there a way that we could maybe link that up on our webpage and somehow explain what each of the items are if somebody were to click on it? That way, if the public had questions about what we spent the ESSER money on, they could see exactly what it was and go from there.
Yeah, I also, I know you've broken out the different items by the dollar amount that we had spent on them. I'd like to see that dollar amount for each of these, and have we used everything for all of the funds that we were?
I believe we're really close.
Okay, is there anything left?
I don't know that offhand.
Okay, I'd like to see that too at some point, if we
So
could.
everything line itemed out?
Yeah, like, for example, I mean, how much was the math interventionist? And I think I had sent some notes to you in terms of some of these items were approved in ESSER 2, but they're showing up in ESSER 3. I just wanted clarification on some of those.
We can provide that.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions on the ESER update? Not, we'll move on to superintendent evaluation tool.
Step in the process in which the board members will all have a paper copy of the superintendent evaluation tool. Please complete that and return it to Lynn in the district office by June 1st. And then on June 8th, the board will have a collated version. Board president, administrative assistant will get together and collate that. And then we go into closed session at the end of that meeting on the 8th and finish that evaluation for the superintendent.
Summer school update.
We have a summer school update. Very exciting to hear what is happening in our summer school. So I would like to, first off, start with Jason Julius at the middle school, and he can give a quick overview of what looks to be a very busy month of June.
Yeah, so I always get excited when our staff commit their time and talents. The Enrichment Summer School is all about what they find passionate and what they want to share with kids. Again, anything from esports to fishing to cooking to knitting to reading, all kinds of sports options. It is a great opportunity for kids. We have 430 students coming. That is the most we have ever had at this time. So to say that we're kind of back, yeah, we're back, baby. It is amazing the number of families that are taking advantage of this. And so it can be a little bit more of a logistic nightmare, but we're going to figure it out. We are offering the kindergarten and first grade classes over at Neil Wilkins. I think that's going to be a positive change for our youngest learners. So that means we'll have second grade through eighth grade here at the middle school. And so, yes, we have more students, but we'll have two buildings going, and I think that'll be an exciting change. We're also offering June kind of a required summer school, kind of an academic recovery for some of our kids. Really targeting, there's two aspects of our summer classes, identifying those lack of will kids and those lack of skill kids. We have students that just are having a hard time engaging in classes and just choosing to not do. The consequence for not learning is learning. So we'll bring them back in June. They'll be required to take some classes for us at the same time that our summer school classes are going on, so the buildings will be already open. And then we'll have our Learning Academy that Renee oversees for our skill kids, those students that need that increased efforts in math and in reading. So a lot of stuff going on for our early learners. So questions that you have?
Kind of thinking pretty far back, but I remember the summer school classes being pretty big with a wide range of grade levels in one section, which I felt, create some chaos. Where are things at this summer? Yeah,
so we tried to do a better job of watching those registration forms come in and keep the classes smaller or close those classes sooner. But we still have that grade band. As we continue to have over 400 kids, we're going to have to look at that differently too. But it is the same grade bands for this summer. Okay, great question.
Now, if we would have Jacob, please explain the new efforts at the high school.
Kind of three spokes to the high school summer school effort. The first one is credit recovery, and that is something that we've seen kind of grow as a need through the last couple of years. So we've been partnering with one of our virtual partners, which is Edgenuity. They offer some online credit recovery options. We're going to supplement that with some in-person support. So you'll see a couple of different sessions that they're working through an online program, but there's a teacher in the room. There's a person in the room that's helping them and supporting them. We did that last year. We rolled that out. It was relatively successful. We're going to continue those efforts this year. The other spoke is a new opportunity, and that's really an enrichment or an advancement opportunity. Kind of using the same program, but instead of credit recovery, they would be credit advancement opportunities. And similar to what we did with the early college credit program, where they filled out kind of a request form and there's a little approval process. That's kind of been going on. There's not as many kids signed up for that enrichment piece, but there's a handful, I think there's 8 actually, that are going to take advantage of that and get some credit advancement over the summer. They're still eligible to come in for that in-person support. It's not a requirement like it is for the credit recovery, but it's an opportunity. And then the third spoke is kind of that extension piece, and we've had that for a long time. That is also growing though. We're seeing Construction Academy is going to be taking place again this year. There's a number of offerings that are connected to music. Those are continuing as well. Business law is another one that we're going to be offering over the summer. So those are kind of extensions of things that we're doing in the classroom and just opportunities. Summer PE is another one where it's things that we're doing. They're in person. They're not through a virtual partner, but opportunities for kids. So we're still getting some numbers. I don't have 400 students signed up, but we'll have more than we did last year. We're definitely trending in the right direction. And the final piece then, it kind of ties into that credit recovery component, is in August, we have an English credit recovery and then a math kind of a jump start for incoming freshmen to practice those math skills before jumping into algebra. And then the English class is really a standards-based course for students that failed a semester this past school year. They can recover that credit so they still stay on track for graduation by demonstrating competency in those English standards. So, questions about those?
We have other students taking accelerated courses, right?
That's the enrichment component, yeah. So there's a couple students doing accelerated math. That's an opportunity through our online partners, through Edgenuity. And that was the similar, they filled out a very similar form to what we did for early college credit, list the course that they'd like to take over the summer, reason why, parents sign off on it, I signed off on it, and then they're already actually enrolled, so they can kind of get a jump start.
On this, they wouldn't be accounted for in this.
They are not on, there might be one, Edgenuity Enrichment, if you take a look there. There's a program supervisor, it doesn't have the students on there, but we do have a program supervisor on there. I think it was on, I think one of the letters was attached at one point. I'm not sure if it is still attached, Jim. That explained the enrichment. I don't know if that's Jason's or mine. That's ours. So there's a course request form that lists the course offerings, and that kind of explains some of the, yes, advancement or enrichment. Some of them were career focused, where it's something very specific that we don't offer at the high school. Others were to maybe be able to take pre-calc as a junior. So they want to try to double up on a math class or something like that over the summer. Thank you.
Moving on to facility improvement update.
So in cooperation with Myron Construction, our district, we have created an informational flyer for review and input. So once settled, this flyer then gets distributed to all of our parents and then also produced and pushed out with our social media. That flyer then becomes a landing page on our website. And that is where if somebody has questions about that's the survey we sent out or referendum-based questions, we're starting to build that wing onto our webpage. So I would like to bring up the facility improvement update. And what we tried to do was listen to the major themes as to what the survey was telling us. And so those 4 bullet items are what the survey told us. And then also going down, here are the things that we learned from the survey. And then saying, hey, here's what's next. So just to kind of summarize, we distribute this to parents, we use social media, We then make it a page on our website, and this continues that transparent effort that we've had from the beginning of, we had this survey to find out what our community was going to tell us. This reinforces this is what they've told us, and then we build from there. Are there any comments, questions about either the process that we're following or something specifically from this page?
I guess the only thing I had was if they have specific questions that aren't addressed in the FAQs or anything, is there a way that they can submit specific questions or?
There is. Our IT, along with Jordan's help, they have a dedicated email address.
Okay,
And that will also be distributed out.
great,
And that address comes directly to me.
very good.
At the top where it says what the survey told us, it says not all projects were supported, and then it has the percentage. Is that the percentage overall that would not support it going forward, or just that wouldn't support all the projects?
So, would you say that question again for me?
Was that 54% that said that they wouldn't support the referendum at all, or that they just wouldn't support all the projects as presented?
That specific
some of-
high school, so those are non-parents, non-staff, they were the purple bars
Okay,
presentation. And out of that group, 54% said they would not support what was offered at the high school.
okay. At the high school, okay.
And that really is one of the, I believe, one of the more difficult elements as a district as we move through a referendum process is whatever number that we represent and that we say out loud, that it's well-defined each time, because it can really become confusing, manipulated. So we really, that's why the wording there is very specific.
Would flip the 71%, the one below it. Lead with your strongest numbers. 87% said that we provide a high-quality education. 71% they would likely recommend us, and then say, but not everybody said that they would support this one, the project at the high school.
We can do that. And that's exactly what I was hoping for, so thank you, Betsy.
It reads more clearly when you go down and say, but they would support us funding, the most urgent needs.
Is there a timeline for them to submit questions, or is this going to be an ongoing, they can submit anytime?
Yes.
Yep. Like you'd said, this is the foundational piece going forward where refer back to.
Yeah, the way that I look at it is, we know this. We have the survey results, we know this. What we don't know is all of the different planning, all of the different decisions that we make from this point on.
At one of the June meetings, we'll be digesting what we learn here, the questions, other questions, the comments, everything, and coming up with a plan going forward.
Yes.
The June 8th meeting?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, we can anticipate every board meeting from here until the November election, we will have something regarding our facility improvement effort.
Got it.
So this next item is one of the themes that came out in the survey with the comments was, you have declining enrollment, why are you doing this? And that came as a surprise to me, because when I was looking at this position, one of the things that a superintendent does is they look at those numbers. And since then, it isn't declining. So that is one of those misnomers that a district has to do a very strong job of informing and educating our citizens. And so this graphic may be one of the more used graphics as we go forward, in that depending on your perspective, you can say, well, we've stayed steady for the last 10 years. You say we're on an upward trend the last 10 years, but I don't believe you can state that we have a declining enrollment. So to help with that, we just, to complete the graph, we look at our enrollment based on DPI compared to the other schools in our conference. I think it's important as a district, we still maintain that 15-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. Our population is growing, city of, and another item to think of is our kindergarten class is one of our largest at 124. And our graduating class, and this is part of that enrollment, part of the student population, and that is we graduate, and I don't know the number exactly offhand, I believe it's close to 100, if not lower than. 89?
No, 90.
90. So around 90 students graduate, so we replace those with those kindergarten students coming up. So that's how enrollment works, and the key piece with all of this is the major lever in school funding, the way the formula is written, is it's based on your last 3 years of enrollment. They take the average of that number, multiply it by whatever number you were assigned back in 93, 94, and that's a big piece of your school funding. This is a critical piece that we have a good command of as a district. Also, in the public version would be the comment report that was provided to us by School Perceptions early this week.
Any questions at all about the community survey webpage? Okay. Let's move on to the consent agenda items.
We have 5B, the minutes from our previous meeting, May 11th, for review. C is the senior music trip proposal for the class of 2023, getting ahead and ready for next year. Letter D is a position that has passed through the Operations Committee on May 11th, looking for board approval. It's a combination of positions. E, we have the resignation of a high school mathematics teacher. Letter attached. F is the resignation, one of our summer student workers found other employment. Letter G loops back up to letter D, and that is we have a candidate I would propose that the board approve for that new housekeeper district summer mowing position. I would also move to approve having Gavin replace that summer student worker. He was with us last summer. And letter I is that first reading of the 700s.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Kurt, second by Colleen to accept the consent agenda items as presented. Any questions or discussion on any of those items? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Looking for a motion and a second to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Betsy, second by Lisa to adopt the agenda as presented. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. On to action items. New STEM teacher.
I would ask the board to approve Tyler Bass as the new Platteville Middle School STEM teacher position. We have talked about this in previous months of increasing that STEM awareness, increasing the exposure to those fields. This is that position, and we are fortunate to recruit a candidate.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Kurt to approve Tyler Bass as the STEM teacher at the middle school. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Sixth grade.
Position was open when Laura Digman accepted the Westview Library Media Center Director position, which was as a result of the retirement of Karen Utley. But we have an accepted offer with Alexandria McClelland for that sixth grade ELA teacher, and I would recommend her approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Lisa, second by Ben to approve Alexandria McClelland as a sixth grade ELA teacher. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Special ed teacher.
This position was opened when Bryce Arneson accepted the middle school physical education position, and it's my recommendation to approve Alexia Jansen as a special ed teacher at Westview.
We'll go motion by Colleen, second by Jen to approve Alexia Jensen as special ed teacher at Westview.
Ben, same thing.
Was it Ben?
It was actually Ben.
I got a trick here. Sorry.
You should sit together, Ben and Jen.
Ben and Jen?
Next to Ben and Jerry.
And Jen to approve Alexia Jensen as special education teacher. Any questions or comments on that? Good, we'll move on. Let's take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Employee handbook adjustment.
This is an error on the part of the administration, specifically myself. In September, the Operations Committee had approved to adjust the stipend amounts for our teachers to increase from $750 to $1,000. Distinguished educators remain at $1,500. Admin go $2,000. And the plan was to incorporate that when we reviewed our employee handbook. We have reviewed that employee handbook. We have approved that employee handbook. I did not include this in that presentation. So this would then make that effort true.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Kurt, second by Lisa to approve the 2022-23 employee handbook adjustment as presented. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Middle school fitness.
Abstain.
Yeah, we got a couple abstentions.
Yep.
Okay, motion still carries. Now let's go on to the middle school fitness center.
This proposal has made it through community outreach operations, and we have an updated middle school fitness center. We have an outside door. I believe this would be a tremendous outreach to our community for our police and fire department to be able to use that. And there are rules, there are expectations, and I think this is a great idea that we should really move forward on.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Ben, to approve the middle school fitness center use as presented.
That was me, but that's okay.
I did also.
Oh, he did too?
Got in before you.
I can't hear.
Evelyn.
Use your
No? Okay. It says no. Any questions or comments on that middle school fitness center as presented? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Policies.
Second and final reading of this grouping of 600 policies. They have not been altered since this board approved their first reading.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Kurt, second by Jen to approve the 600 policies for second and final reading as presented. Any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Business insurance renewal.
So Tricor EMC business insurance renewal, it goes up by around roughly $10,000. And we had this as a discussion item at our last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Colleen, second by Betsy to approve the business insurance renewal as presented. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Approval of administrative contracts and salaries.
So I would recommend the approval of the administrative contracts and salaries those contracts as presented.
So move. Second.
Motion by Kurt, second by Matt, to approve the administrative contracts and salaries as presented. Any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstentions?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. One item left.
What do we do? So moved.
What do we?
Adjournment.
Okay, motion to adjourn by
motion to-
Kurt,
Second.
Second.
second by Colleen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned 7:35. Thank you.
Way ready to wear your shoes yet.